I just wanted to say I really enjoyed this album. It's really interesting. It's got a lot of emotional resonance and stuff. What I've kind of enjoyed about Puscifer over the years is it seems like you kind of take the music seriously, but not yourself too seriously. There's something kind of really playful and fun about it. Is this sort of a reflection of sort of where you're at personally and your kind of evolution as a human, or?
Oh, I think that's always been there in anything I do. It's kind of there. That might not be obvious, but
Yeah, there's kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing.
Yeah, in all projects. Yeah, everything. Yeah, this is probably just a little more apparent here.
Yeah, it feels a bit more kind of pointed. What was the kind of genesis? Like, you made this with Matt Mitchell. I mean, what kind of was the seed of the idea, kind of where it started?
For Puscifer?
Yeah, well, for this album.
In general?
Well, this album in particular, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like all the other projects. We have little ideas kicking around, and then we start to, see many of those ideas piling up, and we go, okay, let's just turn up the, get it going.
You've said, sort of Arizona plays a big part in this album, and I know in past interviews, I think in that Joe Rogan thing you did ages ago, you were kind of talking about how LA can be kind of toxic. What kind of skins have you shed, kind of having that kind of space around you and not being in that sort of urban environment?
Well, it's LA was a short period of time. I moved there, out of there in '95, so I wasn't really there long enough to get singed. But I'm from a small town, so it wasn't really so much shedding a skin as it was getting back to my old skin.
Well, it's a really, it's a really interesting album, I think. I've kind of enjoyed, I don't know, I feel like back to V is for Vagina, it's interesting to kind of explore, I guess, female sexuality, because we are in a situation where, there aren't many female voices really in the arts. It's 3% film directors are female, 5% creative directors and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, it feels in some way V is for Vagina and Money Shot kind of, I don't know, they're kind of saying things about that. I mean, what do you see a link between the two, or is that a conscious thing to kind of explore that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's not really a conscious effort. I just think that, those things just happen naturally. The more you focus on those kind of political or emotional or social topics, the more you highlight them and actually create the division rather than just kind of moving forward with art. If it popped out on some of those albums, I guess it just kind of naturally popped out. I don't know.
Would you say it's kind of it's about the pornification of culture? Is it that sort of direct? Like the title track?
With Money Shot?
Yeah.
Money Shot kind of came, and it's not entirely this, but it was definitely inspired by, I'm going to get his name wrong, Jeff Daniels in Network News, when he kind of goes off on that speech about how the U.S. used to be great and we could be great again, but just people in general, how it is, how it was, how it could be.
We're in kind of dark times, it seems. I don't know. It's like that, and sort of Grand Canyon, it's like this cult of gleeful outrage where everyone is sort of outraged in 15 minutes. Would you kind of agree with that, or?
Yeah, people, I think people get outraged over things. I think what we really need is a borderline extinction level event to kind of get people back to caring about what really matters.
Like a comet falling from the sky or something along those lines.
Kind of just put things back into perspective. Back when we as people were struggling to survive through winters or even through the night, I feel like there's all the, whining about whether or not you use Asian or the words Asian or Oriental and how it's going to offend somebody. I mean, just shut up.
Because it does feel like a big distraction in so many ways. People kind of getting so lost in minutiae and not because it seems like there is actually critical things happening. What was the first sort of political music or things making statements? I don't know if the political is the right word, but like music that was sort of provocative, what are sort of artists that you got into personally, sort of early on? Because I think you have always made those kind of commentaries.
Joni Mitchell has always been a staunch artist.
Yeah. I feel like it's important if you have a voice to say things like that.
I think to a point. No, I disagree. I think artists should, artists are going to express things from an emotional point of view. So they're always, that's their job. They're supposed to just interpret and report what they witness. That is their job as artists. You're looking for the rub. Where's the rub? Storyteller, and you're looking for the rub, not necessarily the solutions, or you're not necessarily educated. You're not the winner of a debate contest, a national debate contest, and you're not necessarily a person who has a doctorate in anything. So, some artists speaking their minds, yes, speak your mind, but as far as being taken at face value for their opinions, they're just their opinions. So
that's a good point. And perhaps maybe we give too much credence to celebrity voice, or
I love Sean Penn as an actor. I don't give a shit about him as a political figure. I give more stock in South Park than I do Sean Penn.
Well, they actually have been. I think this season in particular, they've been quite satirical and quite provocative.
Yeah, they're just kind of pointing out. They're just kind of putting stuff out. They're not making any stand about it. They're not. They're not saying that this is the end all be all. They're still, at the end of the day, they're entertainers. They're just pushing buttons and pointing out. They're the jester at the feet of the king. That's fine.
Yeah.
But nobody should be writing policies around South Park.
I heard Yelp sued the shit out of them last week or something because they were so offended.
I think that was them being prepared to be sued, and then they didn't get sued, and so they issued the press statement as if they did get sued, but they didn't really, because that's part of the joke.
Well, I fell for it.
That's good. That's entertainment. Again, don't write laws around it. Just be entertained by the statement and move on.
Yeah, it's true. The stories are arsonists. The whole kind of concept of burning bridges, is that sort of a character? Is that sort of a personal story? Do you feel you've burned bridges, or, Yeah,
there's always somebody in your life, that just somehow they're that borderline sociopath that just wants what they want and doesn't care about relationships. Everybody has several people like that in their life, and that's just about those people.
Have you had pretty? You've had some time away from. It seems like you've been making a lot of music over the last few years, and there's things sort of coming to fruition. Do you have much conflict in sort of your musical space, or have you kind of worked out who you can work with and who you can't?
There's conflict in everything. Just trying to buy a used car, you deal with people that you necessarily want to deal with. That's just the reality of life. Nothing stops changing. You're always going to have the conflict to your last breath. On your deathbed, arguing with the doctor over who's going to pay the bill. That's just the reality of it. So none of that ever goes away.
Yeah, I suppose it's being a human. It's not like you're going to spend a year when nothing happens. What are you sort of into personally at the moment, like with your wine stuff? And are you spending all your time making music, or are you kind of pursuing other stuff? Or
wine. As far as the winemaking, there's a season. So come as soon as 2 or 3 weeks before the actual first cluster is picked, I'm in the cellar getting ready because it's just myself and my friend Tim. We make the wines. But months we're busy. There's usually downtime in there a little bit that can kind of work on other things when there's kind of a lull. But
are you switching grapes with your feet?
I do. There's a couple. For example, if I get 3 tons in, I'll do some where I just stem and put them in a tank, and I'll do one bin where it's just all whole cluster, and I just get in and stomp on it.
That's pretty cool. That must be fun.
Yeah.
Is there some sort of correlation with making wine and music, because it's kind of over time and over season sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. It all comes together in a very similar way. You have seeds of ideas, and you're not really sure how they're going to turn out. You just have to kind of guide them in. Blending is just like, writing lyrics and finishing up a song, rearranging and arranging.
How will you express this kind of visually? I haven't seen Puscifer live. I missed you the last time you were here. And it's been, I saw you with the Perfect Circle when you're out here with Soundwave and stuff, and saw Tool like a bunch of times, and I always thought it was interesting the way there was like a million lights on Danny Carey, and you were kind of side. I mean, how do you kind of see your different kind of stage personas and what? Yeah. Because you've definitely got a different kind of a vibe.
Well, definitely, Puscifer has more of a story. We're not, we could, I guess we could drop everything and come and play, a club, but then it's just a bunch of people standing on stage regurgitating the songs to you. I've done that. That's fine. Puscifer's more of a story. There's more characters involved. It's more of a performance. It almost like kind of going back to the South Park reference, if you've ever seen or heard of the Book of Mormon, the whole South.
Yes. It sounds amazing. Have you been to it?
Yes, but anyway, so for Puscifer, if we were to show up, let's say that you're expecting the Book of Mormon to come to you, they couldn't afford to bring the entire show down to Australia. So they would, to expect them to bring 4 of their actors and no stage presentation or lighting, it would be like, well, what are we looking at? That doesn't make any sense. So Puscifer is more like that. There's all kinds of other things going on. It's more of it's theater.
Yeah. Cool. What do you see as the kind of film reflection of this album? It feels to me like this kind of space western when it starts with that kind of broken beat and stuff. What do you kind of see as the filmic? Like a space western. How do you kind of see it as a film?
That's appropriate. Absolutely. If you watch somewhere between Spaceballs and